Helen Yee here in Anaheim. Always great to be joined by the one and only Beneil Dariush. First off, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Welcome to this is the war room. You know, Dana has his war room. This is our war room.
Yeah, I love it. Alva and Emma's war room.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like the cactus.
I appreciate that. That was a gift by a friend. Good friend.
Nice. Yeah. Well, what's your favorite toy in here?
Shoot. I have like alphabets. I have like an Aramaic alphabet and an English alphabet. I like those because they'll keep Alva busy the longest, which is weird because I could care less about them when I was young.
But she's grown a lot, and I know she's doing like some reading and studying now.
Currently, she's on Khan Academy. She thinks it's the best thing in the world. I don't get it, but she likes it, so let at it.
Hey, but for the parents out there, you know, that's good for them to know.
Yeah, I mean, if your kids are built like that, that's great. I'm
Built for reading.
Yeah, I guess it's got to be the mom because I got zero. You know, I think it's the Asian genes. I got none of that.
Well, shout out to Victoria, 4.8 GPA.
I don't know about 4.8, but she's definitely a hoarder, as you can tell.
My brother was 4.8.
Oh, good for him. See, genetics.
The Asians,
Genetics. It's not fair.
The schmoes ask you what was my GPA. I can't disclose that information.
See, I will say this about my wife. She's not a math Asian. She can't really do math. So at least I have that. But everything else, she's definitely ahead.
Is she science Asian?
Yeah, actually, she did it in like nursing school, and she like actually enjoyed it. And I thought that was kind of weird.
A lot of us do enjoy science. And shout out to Victoria, great mom. And I see you're always a great dad.
I'm definitely trying. I'm in a house full of women. To be honest, though, it's nice. My wife wants a boy, and I'm just like, I'm surrounded by boys all day. I train with older men, younger men. It's nice to come home and be surrounded by women. But, you know, that gets old, too. I was talking to the schmo about what to do about nagging wives, but probably not the best time to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, not when, you know, we're engaged trying to get married. So I don't know what you're trying to do.
Well, I'm just trying to find a way to make it work, you know?
To tell him what?
Like, you know, like there's got to be a way to be like, hey, you've hit your limit of nagging, and you know, we were just trying to figure it out as like logical men try to do, and we didn't get far, I think.
So no nagging, just cook and clean, right?
Well, clearly not. I mean, look at the house. I was thinking to myself, my wife has a lot to do outside of the house. Tomorrow I'll be like, you're not allowed to leave the house until you clean and cook, and see how far I get with that, because she definitely listens, as you can tell, as you've noticed.
Yeah, great listener. And luckily, no, I'm just happy that I vacuumed the house before the schmo and I drove here too. So
Yeah,
I feel relieved.
So could you possibly give my wife some tips and just kind of like, you know, be more obedient to me? I would really appreciate that.
I could share with her the vacuum cleaner I use. It's really good.
She broke the Dyson. Can you explain to her we need a new Dyson? She just refuses to buy a new one.
Yeah, I'll try to talk to her.
It feels awkward for a man to go into Costco and be like, I'm looking for a vacuum. It just doesn't seem right. So can't do it. So can you please have just this quick chat about vacuums?
Yeah, I'll talk to her about it after our interview. But you did mention training, and I know the schmo spoke to you about all those lightweight matchups that are coming up. But one of them that everyone's kind of waiting for, and I believe Chael Sonnen mentioned it on his channel, Justin Gaethje, he's thinking, I mean, what's your theory? Because I think Chael Sonnen mentioned his theory is that he would fight Max Holloway for the BMF title.
Why wouldn't he fight for the belt? Is the belt not available? Or
I believe Islam, he just tweeted that he wants to fight Gaethje in June for the title.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gaethje would wait.
Yeah.
I think Gaethje would wait because, yeah, I mean, I don't think Gaethje's trying to fight anybody besides Plus, I think Gaethje sells. Let's be honest. I think he sells really well, so it makes sense for the UFC to just wait. And yeah, he's a big. I mean, let's be honest. Justin's a star. He's been a star for a long time, so I think the UFC would wait for him. That's what I think. But I could be wrong. But the Max Holloway fight would be dope. I mean, think about that fight. A guy who has an incredible chin, and on the other side, you have a guy who knocks people out like no other. So it's a really cool fight.
But everyone's trying to guess who's going to headline UFC 300. Who do you think?
It's in April, right?
Yes.
Who would make sense? Adesanya, possibly, but I don't know. As far as headlining, it could be Pereira. That's another option.
Like Adesanya versus Pereira?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm just picking half of the main event. I'm trying to think half the main event. I don't know. I don't know, because maybe some of the Sean O'Malley. He's a big star. Like, people don't think so, but he's a big star.
But he's fighting 299.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't. Yeah. Why did I think?
But and 300 though, I've seen people talk about, could it be Izzy and Alex at 205, or could it be Alex versus someone else?
I think if you're trying to make the card big, I think Israel Adesanya needs to be on that card, because no matter how you look at it, he's the biggest star who's active. I know everyone will be like, Conor. Not disagreeing. I think Conor is he's the unicorn of our sport. But I think as far as active stars go, no one comes close to Izzy. He's a big star, and he was really active for a long time. And he's the guy that I think needs to be on it if they're really trying to make it big. A lot of the big names have retired. Like Masvidal is another big star. He's retired, but he wants to unretire, I think. I don't know. I'm hearing stuff like that. So Masvidal is another big name. You could, because when it comes to numbers like 300, they bring out special people. Like, didn't they bring out Brock Lesnar for 200?
Yeah, for 200.
So they could bring guys who are retired somehow. Find ways. Man, imagine GSP coming back. That would be dope. That would be like super dope. But I'm way out of the box. So, but yeah, I think Israel Adesanya should be on it because he's such a massive star. And I think Alex Pereira, you could put him on there. You put Alex Pereira on there, and you have Izzy on there. I think that people will be excited just for the press conference, because they'll say things to each other, things like that. I'm just thinking from a marketing perspective, which is funny because I'm probably the last guy you want to do your marketing. So I don't know. It's a tricky.
You're too humble.
I'm not really. Well, I don't pay attention to a lot of the stuff that's going on. But yeah, I didn't even know Sean was 299. He's a great fighter. So yeah.
Well, you mentioned Jorge Masvidal. Who do you think he's going to fight? Because there's rumors, could he come back to box Nate Diaz this time around? Or do you think he's going to, be in the UFC and fight someone there?
It would depend on his contract, because he retired, but that doesn't mean your contract is he's released from the contract, right? Unless he has some kind of special contract that lets him out anytime he wants, which I doubt. And if he is to fight what's his name? Nate Diaz. He's a great boxer. I don't think people understand how good Masvidal is when he's on point. Well, like when he's on, his reaction time, his counters, his distance is very, very good. It's weird because sometimes you'll see him really on and just amazing, and then sometimes you'll see him and you're like, what the heck? And I don't know what the difference is. It could be just road work or just him not really being interested. And but if he fights Nate and he shows up, good, on point, he's gonna be a nightmare for Nate. I just don't see Nate being able to get around his power, his counters, and his ability. He's a great boxer. I mean, a lot of guys in Florida are great boxers. There's a lot of good boxers out there. I'm assuming a lot of them come from Cuba.
Well, someone that we just spoke about, Islam and Justin, if they do fight in June, how do you think that one plays out, though? Since you have your, analytical hat on.
So it's really interesting fight because everyone always thinks of Khabib, right? Well, Khabib fought Justin Gaethje and he just went after him really quickly and kind of rushed and finished the fight. Makhachev is not a guy who rushes. He's a patient guy. He's a technical guy. And in my opinion, that actually works in Justin Gaethje's favor. Because even, let's say, Justin loses 3 rounds, he needs only 1 punch. So if he can find that one hit, he can make it changes the fight. So I think it's a really good fight for Justin, but at the same time, Justin has to be patient and calculated. Similar to how he fought Poirier, because if you watch that fight, he got hurt in the first round, but he didn't go crazy like he usually does. Like he gets hurt and he just goes wild. Instead, he calmed down and came back, and he was really just on point with his movement. And you think to yourself, the way he's moving in, he's moving out, he's going to get tired, but he didn't, and he found that kick. I think if he fights Makhachev in a similar style, he becomes a very difficult fight for Makhachev. But yeah, that's what I think. But I mean, Makhachev's been looking pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And rightfully, number 1 pound for pound as well. But last time you and I spoke about Tony Ferguson after his fight against Patty, what advice would you give Tony?
If you're going to keep fighting, you got to learn to get up. I mean, that's really it. If he's going to keep fighting, if he's not going to retire, and I'm not telling him to retire. I mean, if you're asking my opinion, I'll tell you, but to retire, but it's not my place, whatever. Do your thing, right? If you're going to keep fighting, you got to learn to get up. Getting up needs to be a priority for him, because every single time he's lost is because he wasn't able to get up. And I'm not saying he's not going to lose if the fight stays standing, but I just think he has a much better shot. Even with Patty, I thought if the fight stayed standing, he would have won.
Have you ever ran into him around here? Because he lives not too far, right?
I have not, to be honest with you. I'm trying to... Outside of fighting him in Texas, I think I ran into him like once before, and that was in... When did I join the UFC? So it was like 2014, I think I ran into him. Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't ran into him much.
California is big.
California is big, and I think he's similar to me. I think he just, he doesn't go out too much.
Oh, yeah.
Focuses on the family and work and training.
Yeah. Both of you are great family men.
Thank you.
And for the fans who love you and can't wait to watch for your return, what would you like to let them know?
Man, it's gonna take a minute, unfortunately, before I come back, but the motivation is there. I gotta know, I said this before in another interview, but I gotta know if I still got it. So when I come back, I'm gonna make sure I'm the best that I can possibly be when I step into that octagon.